At the third stroke, the time will be 8:32 and 30 seconds. At the third stroke, the time will be... Time to let everyone know I can do other voices as well as the speaking clock. I was the voice of Thunderbirds, don't you know?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Yes, it did. I'd always wanted to be an actor. And then I was about 14, I suppose, and there was this advertisement in the Oxford Mail saying, boy or girl wanted for stage work. I thought, this is it, my big moment. So I rushed cap in hand to see this very charming woman who ran the Oxford Playhouse. And I said, yes, I'm ready. What will I have to do? And she said, well, I'm sorry, but you only mean somebody to sweep the stage. And I said, well, would I ever get a small part? She said, well, take a long time. You could be an ASM, but you might. But I tell you what, she said very kindly, you come back, when you finish your schooling, come back and see me, and we'll see what we can do if you still want to be an actor. I'd had a period out of work, as most actors do, and sitting in a coffee bar in Soho, in came John Longdon, who was a very distinguished actor of the 40s and 50s, wonderful profile like John Barrymore. And I'd done a play with him a few months before that. And he said, well, he said, come over to Danzig. He said, they're doing all these films. And the money's good. They used to pay £7 a day plus £7, like repeat fees, I suppose they would be. And it was a boon for out-of-work actors, you know, and off we went to Elstree. And they were turning out films like sausages, including a serial with one young actor, an English actor, who had been famous by being in Little Women, the June Allison, Elizabeth Taylor version. But I think that was the last American film he did. And in fact, I worked with him on that, and it was so bad they were doing 2 series at the same time in different sets. And he'd rush in. I had a scene with him. And of course he didn't have time to learn his lines, so he was reading over my shoulder. It's very distracting. No, that's how I heard of Danzig, so I went across and met the casting woman, Barry Gray, who was a very sweet woman. And she said, yes, fine, and I was playing detectives and different parts, you know, and a lot of films came up, and very delighted. And the amusing story about that is that I had to collect the girl who I was playing a love scene with. She lived fairly near me in Earl's Court, and I picked her up in the morning, and out came this rather butch girl in jeans, and wanted, oh, my God, I just had a fight with my girlfriend, and I punched her one, you know. I thought, my God, I've got to play a love scene with her, you know. Perhaps I have to get into drag or something. And we got to the studios, and off she disappeared to the dressing room. And it's a Victorian setting, and the scene is a very short one. It's in a park, and with bushes and all around it. And I'm trying to make love to her on a park bench, you know, not sort of violent love, but sort of, you know, Victorian petting. And she was, and suddenly, I didn't know what to expect to come in, but suddenly in came this beautiful woman. And she had this wonderful wig on with curls, and an off-the-shoulder lace number, and a, you know, a full skirt. And my scene, she sat down by the side of me, I had to take her hand and kiss it. And rather like eating sweet corn, I had to nibble up her arm and try to remove the lace shoulder piece. And she was lovely. And then suddenly we hear a rustling in the bushes, and there's Lawrence Payne playing the villain. And I said, my God, you know, and chased him. I think that's all I did, all I remember. But the best thing that I did do, I did offer to do the voiceover for the commercial, for the title and the trailer, which I think was the best thing about the film. But it was one of those things with boom, boom, boom. When you hear this sound, it's the sound of the telltale heart. And that was good, so I did that for them.
Close your eyes and do not look at the screen again until it stops.
It was in one of the largest cinemas in Brighton. And, of course, coming out of the railway station at Brighton, this great film poster, Brian Cobby in The Nudist Story, and Jeff Chandler in some Western rather than small writing. I thought, my God, that's no secret. And a lot of scenes were cut out. There was one scene where I had to teach the girls how to archery, you can imagine, naked. And I got my arm of this girl pulling the bow back. So that was completely cut out. But my bum was seen. Strangely enough, I was recognised in a Turkish bath in German Street one night. I was going into the steam room and said, "Now I know where I've seen you. You're in the nudist story, aren't you? I've just seen you down the road." Recognised me by my bottom, so there we are. It has caused me trouble afterwards, years later, when I won the Speaking Clock in 1984. There was a great acclamation. It was a marvellous thing. The papers were full of it, and on the Sunday papers, who would have thought the Speaking Clock had once done a nude movie, with a photograph of somebody who wasn't me at all, playing my not such a good body either.
Hello, Mr. Winterton. What can we do for you?
My instructions are to see Colonel Mai in person.
What is it this time? Printing us another issue of postage stamps?
I really don't know. I think it's just a question of identifying this passport.
I see. Well, I'll find out what Colonel Mai is up to. Forgive me for asking with such short notice, Finlater, but some friends of mine are throwing a party this evening and have asked me to bring along a congenial friend. I wonder if you'd care to come.
I should like that very much.
Oh, please excuse me for asking you alone like this, but I don't even know if you are married.
Well, that point doesn't arise this evening.
Splendid. It's not a formal party, and as the evening wears on, I expect it to develop along distinctly informal lines.
Fair enough. Where shall we meet?
What about the 144 Club? I'm going to have a drink there first, and then pop into a taxi.
What about the money?
That's all right.
I thought you were going to set fire to it.
It's all taken care of. Time bomb goes up in about 1 minute, then we can take off.
Time bomb? What about my wife? Didn't you hear me? I must warn my wife.
It's too late to think about that now. Besides, her writer friend might try and do something heroic. That would spoil our plans, wouldn't it?
Our plans? Yours, you mean, not mine.
Ours, surely, Eric. This is your future, too, now, remember?
I must have been mad to have trusted you.
Well, to me, I haven't been terribly lucky in my love life. I've never been married, and I've never had very long relationships, but I have had some wonderful friends. And unfortunately, this time of my life, a lot of my friends were older than myself and they're now dead, so I found it very lonely. But friendship is very important.
In the evening of my life, I shall look to the sunset at a moment in my life when the night is due, and the question I shall ask only you can answer. Was I brave and strong and true? Like you? Like you? Did I fill the world with love my whole life through? Did I fill the world with love? Did I fill the world with love? Did I fill the world with love? My whole life through.